Over the last few weeks, some eye-opening developments have been formulating across the Middle East that could result in war. In a Jerusalem Post article today, Syrian officials were talking war with Israel that sounded much like a scenario that could set off events that could lead to the Psalm 83 war and the destruction of Damascus. It reads, "If war breaks out between Israel, Syria, and Hezbollah, Syrian President Bashar Assad's regime will play powerful cards in South Lebanon and will not hesitate to respond," senior security officials in Syria said, according to a Kuwaiti newspaper, Al Raa. According to the officials, in case of war with Israel, Syria and Hezbollah will compete with each other over who will fire the first Scud or Fatah missile at Tel Aviv. Yesterday's developments with the tentative reunification between Fatah and Hamas also raises a red flag that the Palestinian Authority no longer desires to reach a negotiated settlement with Israel, but a unilateral move through the UN that wouldn't require them to recognize Israel or renounce terror. The unity agreement between Hamas and Fatah is a blessed, positive move, Iranian Foreign Minister Ali Akbar Salehi said Thursday, according to the IRNA news agency. Salehi said the move was in line with the Palestinian nation's historic objectives and also praised the new Egyptian government's role in mediating between the two factions. However, Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas was expressing a different message for the unity government, a message of hope. He said on Thursday he hoped a unity deal between his Fatah party and Hamas would help promote negotiations with Israel. "We expect that what was achieved yesterday between Fatah and Hamas will promote negotiations," Abbas said in Ramallah. "We hope that it will bring all the factions of the Palestinians to accept the quartet conditions," he said, referring to international demands that any Palestinian government accept previous agreements, recognize Israel, and renounce violence. Abbas stated that the Palestinian Liberation Organization, or the PLO, which he heads and to which Hamas does not belong, would still be responsible for handling politics negotiations. An official unity agreement signing ceremony is scheduled to take place in Cairo next Wednesday. "We have agreed to form a government composed of independent figures that would start preparing for presidential and parliamentary elections," said Azum al-Hamad, the head of Fatah's negotiating team in Cairo. "Elections would be held in about 8 months from now," he said, adding the Arab League would oversee the implementation of the agreement. In other news, thousands of Egyptian protesters have gathered in front of the Israeli embassy in the capital of Cairo, demanding an end to ties with the Tel Aviv regime. This is in line with the results of a public opinion poll conducted in Egypt following the fall of dictator Hosni Mubarak, show that the majority of Egyptians want to annul their nation's peace treaty with neighboring Israel. Certainly, Syria, Hezbollah, and Hamas have always been enemies of Israel's, but with a new Egypt calling for the end of peace with Israel and Fatah uniting with terrorist group Hamas, this new dynamic could be a formula for war. Speaking of war, as part of the Israeli Defense Establishment's preparation for the Palestinian Authority's projected declaration of independence in September, outgoing Police Commissioner Dodi Cohen said Thursday that the police is expecting the worst. "The police's orders for September are to prepare for the worst-case scenario, which we are working on right now," he said. "We are conducting a repeat inspection of all of the headquarters. The scenario includes large-scale disruptions of order. What is certain for September is the place and the date, but I suppose that until then some actions will take place both in the international and political arenas." Palestinian Foreign Minister Riyad al-Maliki said that 150 nations are expected to recognize a Palestinian state by September. He claimed that 10 Caribbean countries are to declare recognition of the state over the next month. Are we in the beginning stages that will lead to a unified Middle East? Are the enemies of Israel described in Psalm 83 about to rush down on them as a mighty wind in an attempt to finally rid them of the land? That's still up for speculation, but one thing's for sure. Come May, Israel will be facing another Gaza flotilla and worldwide protests, and almost certain disruptions following the PA's September UN declaration to create a Palestinian state. This is Terry Malone with the Calvary Prophecy Report.